Nature Conservancy. And then I somehow got sidetracked into a business career, but still participated in various environmental organizations my entire life. So I'm really happy to be back into a role where I think I can contribute.
Wonderful. Thank you again. We're happy to have you. So, all right. I'm good.
I hear you're very nice people.
We are very, that's what I just said, we're very nice.
So about
Except for me.
Commissioner Mahoney's here and Commissioner Luxinger's here and Commissioner Diane Saunders is here. I'd like to welcome Diane Saunders to the commission.
Thank you.
An alternate. Congratulations. Thank you for giving.
Happy to be here.
Excellent. Thank you for giving your time as a volunteer. Any questions, obviously ask the staff for anything, but as an alternate, you'll be able to ask questions.
Some of the facts.
Like anybody else, except you won't be able to vote unless you've been put in as an alternate for that night. Okay? So again, well, and if you'd like to say anything, please feel free. Yeah.
I'm just very happy to be here. I've been very interested in environmental matters for a long time, since I was in college, and I studied with Doctors Goodwin and Nearing at Connecticut College, who were some of the founders of the Nature Conservancy. And then I somehow got sidetracked into a business career, but still participated in various environmental organizations my entire life. So I'm really happy to be back into a role where I think I can contribute.
Wonderful. Thank you again. We're happy to have you. So, all right. I'm good.
I hear you're very nice people.
We are very, that's what I just said, we're very nice.
So about
Except for me.
Monster.
statement there. I'm gonna appoint Ted Luxinger as a full member for tonight's purposes, and I think that covers the full. Yeah, okay, good. And number 3, approval of the draft meeting minutes, the Conservation Commission meeting from December 20th, 2023. Do any members have any questions, corrections, or anything? If not, I'll take a motion to approve. Pete and Ted, I can second. Peter, Hood, Ted second. Okay, all in favor? 5. All right, moving on quickly to Roman numeral 4, new business. Number 1, request to access and conduct a regulated activity in a conservation easement related to the Wakeman Lane Bridge, AKA number 04971.
And if I pronounce that right,
Project IWP-23-172. Welcome.
good evening. My name is John Waggle, and I am from CHA Companies. We are the state liaison for the department working on this federal local bridge project for the municipality of Fairfield and Westport. So I believe most of you were at the Wetlands Commission meeting 2 weeks ago and seen our presentation. So here I'm here to pretty much discuss our impacts to the conservation properties. There are 2 properties that are conservation, one being the Herrick open space, I don't know if I pronounced that right, and that's this property right here in yellow. And there's also a property on the downstream river left on the Fairfield side. 297 Wakeman Lane has a conservation deed restriction. So any work that's within, I believe, 30 feet of the watercourse line require conservation approval. So that's why we flagged this, as well as the Herrick open space, which is on the Westport side, but owned by Fairfield Lawn. Yes. I'll start with the town of Fairfield, Sasko Creek Herrick open space. This orange area right along the street right away is a temporary construction easement. At this time, the only thing that's really going in there is silt fence, but we're trying to give the contractor a little bit of space while they're constructing this bridge. We have a lot of cofferdamming, construction access. The site is pretty tight. We have to maintain traffic to Grist Mill Lane. We also have to Richmond Lawn, yes, the driveway. So we're looking to stockpile some stream bed material within that area, approximately in this location. Upon completion of the project and we remove those cofferdams, that site will be restored. All our slopes steeper than 3 to 1, erosion control matting type D on it. We're also planting different plants in that area. Excuse me. We have conservation mix, which is going in management lawn, yes. Let me talk about the other side, then I'll go into the restoration plan. The downstream river left side, we are realigning the drainage, making some drainage improvements. Over the years, as maybe some of you know, there seems to be a lot of drainage additions. So what we are doing is from the existing outfall that comes out in approximately this location, we are rerouting the drainage a little bit closer to the river, putting 4-foot sumps in at all our catch basins to trap sediment. And we're putting a pre-forested lawn, yes, to help erosion and scour protection at the outfall. That allows the energy to dissipate and then flow over land into the water course. Any questions so far, or is everyone pretty clear? Okay. Couple modification or updates from the last time we spoke. Lawn, yes, which is the office environmental planning. I took a look at our planting plans. They suggested, as same as you, to change it over to a red osier dogwood from a Siberian dogwood. They also asked us to include 20 1-gallon container swamp milkweed plants. So we're going to extend it out. Also, fisheries, DEP fisheries reviewed the plans and they noted some additional restrictions on the contractor. Lawn, yes, that was downstream that had been removed in the last few years from their initial review. They put additional restrictions for nighttime work, certain lights, certain restrictions that the contractor has to adhere to for fisheries, for migration of fish up the stream. So that being said, I think you've all seen this presentation before, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Lawn, yes. Plan, the blue areas will be all restored with a conservation seed mix. The green areas will be a turf establishment. A lawn mix is more for residential. These little pockets of yellow area as a wetland mix, and any disturbance within the stream will be that stream bed material I talked about earlier, which we will remove from the stream, stockpile, save, put back into the stream.
Would the turf that's going in need to be mowed?
The turf establishment lawn, yes. The conservation mix, no. That's
Sedge as opposed to turf,
for the residential lawns.
so it doesn't need to be mowed.
We typically, for residential yards that are already lawn, we typically provide a seed mix that would match a lawn mix. So that's why these green areas, these are people's front yards. So
Okay.
they're most likely going to be mowed. And so any conservation mix or wildflower mix that we put there established very well because they're going to be mowed over.
I don't think,
Sure.
You mentioned erosion control matting. I'm not sure what D is, but I'm concerned that we don't use the one with the plastic mesh in it so that if the animals don't get entangled with that. I think that's probably a DEP requirement, but I think, yeah,
I will double check. I'm not 100% sure. I know there's a bunch of biodegradable options.
right.
I know the concern with
Biodegradable ones tend to be
that.
3 or 4 years, and
I don't think,
there's better alternatives now.
Okay.
And then the other thing is, pretty much on board. The one thing I am concerned with, what I've noticed on a lot of these construction projects, is the material that either is imported or exported from the site with Japanese knotweed, some of the invasives. Just making sure that those don't get either moved out of the area. I'm not sure if there's any there now. Tim, I don't know if you know if there is. Is there?
I know there's no frag. I don't think there's any knotweed, right? No.
It just, it should be made, we don't want to export it. Also, any material that's brought in should be clean. The root material shouldn't have any of that material. 'Cause once that stuff's established, we're gonna have a problem. And I think that shouldn't be an onerous condition.
That was unfortunate. I couldn't.
It's good that you're stockpiling the stream bottom and replacing it. That's,
Typically do that nowadays.
yeah, I know, it's a great way to.
Trees. And we're also opening up the span, providing a riparian shelf, things like that. You've probably heard that at the last meeting. So we try to make these improvements. Any other questions from the commission? That was unfortunate.
No, commissioners, anything? I know the project from a few weeks back was pretty fresh in our minds, so I think we had a whole bunch of questions done in there. And again, if it's different individual, but I think it's the same group, very well.
We were
Brought out.
remarking,
Yeah.
that it was really thorough.
It was a great, good project. We hope other people will listen to this and say,
It's a
do what
model.
these guys did, and, it's very good. So, kudos to you and your people. So,
I was unfortunate I couldn't make it to the last meeting. As you know, Westport, we're doing this, and I was at the erosion control meeting that night. Well,
great.
I really appreciate the pat in the back.
Yeah.
Need a motion?
I think we do, because it's good. It's for regulated activity within a conservation easement that we regulate. So,
I'll move that we give our endorsement for the regulated area within the conservation.
and second, Attorney, Commissioner Hood,
Do this year.
ayes all around. Okay. Very good. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you.
You.
All right, now moving on to number 2. Permit request received by Greater Bridgeport Amateur Radio Club to conduct an activity at Boynton Hill Open Space on May 5th, 2024. Thank you very much. Welcome. Thank you. And I recall this is now
This year.
this last year.
Much.
So I'm happy that you're back, and I'd love to hear, even though I kind of know how it went, but look for you to put on the record how it went last year. And
Certainly will. So my name is Peter Semino. I'm president of the Greater Bridgeport Amateur Radio Club. We're a radio club that's been in the Greater Bridgeport area, providing emergency services for over 50 years. But what we're asking you this year, again, second time, to use the Hoyden Hill open space location to conduct our emergency radio drill. The Greater Bridgeport Amateur Radio Club, we're incorporated, we're a 501c3 nonprofit, and we are insured. Insurance is provided on page 2 of your handout. Moving on, we would like to use the Hoyden Hill location. I've showed the map there indicated in yellow. That is the field. I provided some pictures, the baseball field and the road. We used this last year with great success. With a very busy weekend for the baseball field and the driving range. And it worked out very well. We didn't interfere with each other. We had a few people come over and ask us what we were doing, and we provided some ham radio education for them to spark their interest.
That's great.
So on page number 3, I provided some pictures of the actual stations that we set up. Basically 3 tabletop radio stations. We sat in the middle of the field under that little tent there. We battery power only. We took all our trash out. If you look at on the following page, the object of this drill is to try to communicate with as many counties throughout New England. We were able to get about 85% of the counties, and that's one which was very good. I think the only clubs in Fairfield County represented was us and the Westport Astronomical Association, which is very good. So that was very nice. Basically, for ham radio, the Hoyden Hill location is ideal because it is the highest point in Fairfield County. So for direct visual communications, it works out really well. And that's what anything beyond the horizon, you have to skip your radio waves off the atmosphere, almost like throwing a stone across a pond. But better said, it's actually more like hitting a bank shot in a pool, where you have to figure out the angle and the power and try to get your signal to go where you need it to go. And so like golf, it's easy to putt maybe, and it's easy to hit the ball as far as you can, but that intermediate range shots take some finesse. And that's what our members are practicing on. In the case of emergency, we'd be able to communicate with not just afar, but the nearby. So any questions from the group? I can give.
Anyone? Any questions? Comments? No? Okay.
I want to come.
Yeah.
Actually, last year, I want to take some pictures.
So this is open to the general public, and we do allow non-licensed radio people to operate their radios under, and we do provide courses and information and how to get licensed if you ever wanted to.
Okay.
Peter, how do you advertise it? How does the public know this is happening?
So we, there are some, through the ARRL, which is the American Radio Relay League, we advertise there. Last year, we also did, send an announcement to the Fairfield, flyer that, the first selectman has here in Fairfield.
Right.
So basically that's how we do it.
Yeah, that's great. Yep.
Yeah. Are you planning to have, well, are they planning to have it in the same location as last year?
Yes. So last year, we were actually planning to do it just north of the baseball field. But when we arrived, it seemed to be a much busier day than we expected. So we didn't want to,
That very,
and then our secondary location, when we came in the morning, the chain was over the road. So we ended up setting up at that field. But we actually did find that that field was the ideal field.
the one that's in yellow here.
In yellow there, correct.
Is that an issue?
No, it's not. I'm just trying to make it easier for them.
Yeah.
So I have, because I mowed that field
Right.
and
Yeah,
then
thank you.
they ended up in this field.
Okay.
So
That very kind and conscientious of you to think that for that. So this is the field you want.
That's correct.
This is it. Yeah.
I
Give you
This
that.
open space.
Yeah.
Conservation manager, I had no problem with them at all. I went up there and I met with you people.
Great.
And they were very friendly, outgoing, and very neat.
Okay.
But I want to help them out, knowing where you're gonna set up.
To our form that I,
The same location as last year.
Perfect. That clears that up.
Good to build awareness at the open space itself.
Yeah.
Good for that.
And you can put somewhere that, I wouldn't mind if you can put in your little blurb that you're gonna advertise the highest point in Fair. I mean, I didn't know that. You know, that's great to hear. I never knew that.
Yeah, that's one of the things we researched and we found is, oh, it's open space, that's lucked out. So, you know.
Okay. Anybody, motion to,
our form that I,
Make a motion, that we endorse this as presented to us, and we thank the Greater Bridgeport Amateur Radio Club for their support of conservation in the town of Fairfield.
Thank you very much.
second? Commissioner Alessi, all in favor? Aye. All around. Excellent. Well, good luck.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Great event.
I'll be in contact with you.
yeah, it's great. Thank you. Also just point out, for the record, Peter's knowledge that, typical to our form that I get approvals from the other departments. And I believe it was the fire chief who commented that this is, and possibly you chief, that this is a good drill to have in town in the event that there's some disaster that, and I think you might have pointed out as well, that that's, you know, right before the end of the world, that's the only source of communication we have.
That's good.
So the fact that it's occurring here is,
Many of our members are Fairfield CERT and
Or 150.
members also.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's great to know. So I think we're covered then if some, we're end of the world.
run to Hoyden's if things
To the highest spot.
Election next year.
There used to be a Nike radar site up there also. Because
that right?
Highest point. Yeah, so, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Peter.
All right, moving on to number 3. Pending recreational trails grant application to SCP for 150 Avenue property under consideration for submission. Tim, is that now you from here on?
Yeah, pretty much. I have the rest, I think. So yeah, item number 3, 150 Villa Ave. The commission and the agency are aware of this property. At the last meeting, the agency authorized and approved the town of Fairfield engineering departments. I envision to conduct the Rooster River detention, stormwater detention project. This is the same property. It's 5 contiguous parcels, around 5 acres in total. I met with Terry Brown, our grant coordinator, yesterday morning to discuss the application that is due May 11th to DEP. We are going to submit that application for I envision a trail loop with access mainly from Villa Avenue, side access from Algonquin. this parcel I was able to acquire for this open space. My vision is to install an ADA trail. It's open space. There will be 2 parking spaces. I'm requesting the designer proposed to will be for ADA vehicles only. It's sidewalk accessible. Part of the design would be to include a short sidewalk on the Villa Ave side with a crosswalk that Public Works is aware of to the other side of the sidewalk. That would create the connectivity to going towards Peter's house, that direction of Villa, where there's a lower income senior center will be for, and then 600 feet to the east is the city of Bridgeport, which is deemed by the state as environmental justice and distressed community region. The ADA compliance trail would go, somewhat of a loop and access, like I said, from Villa and Algonquin. And that grant application will be for the design and the construction. So I ran this with a Zoom with Terry before Kim Bradley, who's the deep recreational trails grant coordinator. And they were very excited. So I think we got a really good shot at using this open space for, like I said, ADA connectivity. There's Tungus Hill Park's the closest non-developed area to once we submit of town. We got, like I said, Bridgeport, seniors, accessibility on sidewalks, no driving. Punches a lot of buttons with stormwater detention, our wetlands restoration, native plantings that Ted had mentioned at a previous meeting, probably some pollinator components in there. So I think it's a great project. I think we have a good shot, and stay tuned once we submit it.
Excellent.
Great.
Good work.
Very nice, good job.
I think we had mentioned that when we had the wetland hearing about our desire to have trails, right?
Yes. Yep. Same parcel.
And those trees, what were they called again?
Yeah.
Sassafras.
Sassafras. Yeah, they gotta stay. I like those trees.
Never ending route. I just gotta.
All right.
Representative.
I don't think, so from here on, it's pretty much information. I think, no detailing it. So, number 4 is, Mill Hollow Lawn, the Meadow conversion and miscellaneous improvement.
Mill Hollow, open space. There is a section to kind of the west, Umpqua and, what's that street? The representative of the law. I can't take it. We can't take it up the street. Somerset. That's
Somerset, yes.
we're thinking S. Somerset, that area.
He sometimes knows.
Yeah.
Area of the open space is all lawn and goes right to the Mill River, which is pretty much against everything the agency and the department represent of preventing for riparian buffers. That acreage will be converted to meadow. The manicured lawn will go away. We'll have paths to where the bench is by the water. The bench will be replaced. The entrance will be restored. Some additional signage, the split rail fence will be replaced. But that'll be overseeded using equipment from Public Works and the golf course with native kind of high meadow pollinator mix. We'll add some additional eastern red cedars and some other trees. The design is being developed by William Kenny Associates. And I think it's gonna work out really nice. As you know, the way it came about was I had a conversation with Parks and Rec, who was using the town mowing contractor to mow it. We realized it wasn't even Parks and Rec's property to authorize. They agreed and notified the contractor to stop mowing it. That was in probably November, so prior to the growing season, all of this will be in place. We'll reseed it and get it to where a native meadow and habitat that it should be, and not manicured lawn.
Excuse me, Tim, I'm just a little unsure as to, right? Can you?
So if you're at
Sturgis Road Bridge.
Sturgis, you go over that little stone bridge,
Yeah.
driving straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, Peter's
My
got
only,
that.
and I spoke to Tim about this, is that
It's a good landmark, yeah.
Yeah, it's on the right.
Yeah, it's up
Property on the right. How you gonna keep the cars off it?
It's fenced right now.
It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no car access. There's some street parking as you
Okay,
enter.
right? Side of the stone bridge.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Well, it's,
Yeah.
okay.
I guess.
The other side.
Side.
That's what.
the Stonebridge side.
Where's North Pine Creek Road?
Right.
Yeah.
We said-
Kind of go around that corner there, the other way. A lot of cars there usually.
I'm very familiar because we use,
Residential people that park cars there. You're coming down Bronson, you go over the stone bridge, you take a right.
You-
Lawn on the second side.
Yeah, but
that's not where it is, Rick.
makes the left, hard left,
Oh, okay,
right there, that's the property.
okay. Go over the stone bridge, take a left.
You go over the Stone Bridge, you take a left, or you take a right.
Okay,
A left over the bridge and then your first right.
okay, I'm with you now.
Right.
Okay.
But then again, we're having problems with town property, which I had to go over in people's houses and say, you can't park on town property.
Right over the bridge in that
On the lawn.
area there. The only, and I spoke to Tim about this, that we do use that as the second grade site for River Lab. So we use that, the area that, and not just, we would never stand in the way of restoration, but that is where we do like the group activity. So I think, Tom, do you think that the reason we don't use that other entrance is because over the stone bridge is because it is, we used to park the buses in that lot and walk the kids over the stone bridge, which can be a little dicey because people fly on that road. So I don't know, that would be my only thing, is that we would have to use, because it's very muddy, like, you've that area down there.
It's not that area.
No, I know, but if we along, where the stored that, then we'd have to do that second grade activity, group activity there.
Muddy area you're talking about is
Yeah.
gonna be updated within the next, I'm waiting for the ground to thaw. Cause I have to get all the organic material out of there. Then put in a stone base road.
Oh, so then, because I was gonna say, we'd have to switch all of the group activity to the other side, because right now they're dropping them off on Somerset along, where the
The grass areas,
grass area is.
that's area,
That we're gonna fix.
That's what's gonna be restored.
right?
I definitely think should be restored.
You can just still use it for,
It's still gonna be accessible.
It needs like an area for like 25 kids for like a pretty big group activity.
It's a meadow. It's just,
Yeah.
you're gonna have wildflowers there as opposed to just turf.
It's still gonna be paths.
Yeah, right.
It's not gonna be,
Where you put in the back house edge, some.
But I'm saying if we,
Theory skills on that.
they could do the group activity on the other side, but it's usually pretty muddy over there. But if it's gonna be corrected, then we could do the group activity on the other side.
Guarantee you, it will be corrected as soon as I could do it.
Tom, I know you will. I saw you out putting stone out on Sturgis trying to fix that bank, so.
Where are you getting all the money for this?
Hopefully it's
stones are free.
The other thing
Theory skills on that.
part of that is really big with dog walkers. And I know we don't typically do dog waste bags, but is that something we could incorporate into there?
We have a trash can there. I think the meadow is gonna reduce the amount of
Okay,
dog. I know some of the neighbors have complained to the firemen about excessive dog walking and not obeying dog leash rules within 100 feet.
Would you go in there with your skills? Oh, that's so strange.
Yeah, we just added some new signage.
I've been there for like, I don't know, 20 years. I've been bringing kids there and it is 9 out of 10 people have a dog and they come out, it's not actually, it's kind of not, it's actually really beautiful. It's like a little like, you know, it's actually, it's small, but they do. And they don't have poop bags. And I'm like,
Okay, as someone with a group, thousands of people, that's a weird place to go. Okay, just,
well, you know, I think it's densely populated, like down there in there
We did,
with their dog.
yeah.
People go everywhere.
And I know it says under details that you were thinking about invasive vegetation. And I know I've mentioned this and I know you're not a big cattails person, but we used to have some cattails in there and we do talk about red-winged blackbirds.
No, they have their place. It's just, you know, you want
I
to
know.
keep them their place.
I just want to put a little pitch in if we could stick a couple that
we can work on
tails
that.
back in there.
We did just have our tree contractor go in and remove, I don't know, what, six big Atlantis that were in there.
Good.
They were, I don't know, 60 feet tall. They were monsters, so they dropped them and there's still a grove closer to the water of probably another dozen that the
Okay.
Tom's crew will drop, so other improvements are coming, but yeah, manicured lawn up to the mill road. I think. So that will be much improved. Area.
Any other
I think
questions?
that's fantastic.
Yeah, it really is.
It really is.
There's two species of more aggressive. The other ones use the
Any
word.
other
We
questions
use the less aggressive.
on it? No?
It's good. It's a good project.
Moving on, number 5, Dalewood Avenue and Ash Street.
Number 5, this location is, I don't know, maybe 400 square feet of manicured lawn up against Ash Creek. It's on the curve of Dalewood and Ash. It's currently, kind of crowded with, knotweed on the riverbank, which, in the next few weeks, the department crew is going to install more vinyl, billboard vinyl, courtesy of Lamar Advertising, to suppress the knotweed. It's going to be replanted with native shrubs, and in collaboration with the greater Fairfield Board of Realtors, they have proposed and will fund installation of 2 Adirondack chairs looking out over the river. There'll be also some other native planting, probably some other shrubs and trees in that area to reduce the lawn. So it'll be unmaintained once the natives are installed. Another kind of riparian buffer improvement with no herbicide. Our signage will be up similar to Lake Mohegan mugwort control that you've seen with the vinyl there. We're gonna try and knotweed and see what happens and hopefully improve a very small space.
Would that be considered like one of those pocket park things that?
Sort of, yeah, it'd be sort of like a pocket park.
Yeah.
There's no sidewalks in that area. It's only strictly residential. But the view, the riverbank's really high there on Ash Creek. And without the knotweed, you have a really nice view looking up river towards Metro Center.
Yeah.
It's a good spot. It's just once the knotweed gets 5 feet tall, you can't see anything. So it's kind of a neighborhood improvement, jointly with the Realtor Board that they approached me looking for ideas. I found this one because I'd like to not maintain it.
Yeah.
And get rid of some invasives and hopefully improve, make a kind of a little space for the neighborhood.
All right. Any other questions about this, commissioners? Nope. Moving on to number 6. Collaboration with Earth Place and with the city of Bridgeport on grant for trash removal device at Ash Creek.
Say device. That devise. This is a joint venture, like it says, between Bridgeport and Earth Place, which also known as Harbor Watch, who we work together with on water quality sampling in all three major watersheds in town. They are requesting 6 figures grant for this device that would be anchored to riverbanks of Ash Creek. Further north, it might even be Rooster River at that point. Nothing, locations aren't hard right now, but it's a floating device with a hard boom that you would see in the case of an oil spill. Funnels floating debris and well, mostly floating trash into, picture like a 55-gallon drum device that lets water pass but collects garbage. It's not, I would call it a temporary device only because it's anchored with, rope on each direction to form kind of a V or funnel. And one, at least right now, we're thinking one would be on Bridgeport's side and one anchor would be on our side. We'd work with them, they would maintain it for a certain period of time and would assist them to, for disposal and maintenance. But removing floating trash from migrating towards the sound.
So Tim, when you say they would maintain it, that's the city of Bridgeport would maintain it?
It would be Earth Place would maintain it. Yeah, they're the applicant for the grant. That would fund the device and their kind of labor.
Yeah.
For a certain period of time. I attached that material in here. The application and the explanation of the grant.
Tim, I have a question. How does that work with letting fish and other animals through that?
It's a surface boom, so it's just, it floats on the surface. It doesn't impede
Okay, so
anything.
they can go under. Okay. Okay. Even when it's full of trash?
They would be monitoring that and how quickly it fills up and have to empty it. Yeah.
We had one of those at the rest area at Holly Pond. Like McDonald's area. I don't know if anybody ever saw it. It was pretty effective.
Yeah. It's called the Bandalong Bandit, I think. The language is in there. But they make 2 models at different sizes. One's like 40,000 and the next one's like 100 and something thousand.
Right.
We're looking at the 40,000.
Yeah, dollars. Depending on the size.
Tube with a couple of ropes on it? Exactly.
So they're
Good deal.
hopefully pretty effective. For that money.
Okay.
Any other questions, commissioners?
No, it sounds great.
All right.
It does sound great.
We're submitting it. We're just, I wrote a letter of support to the feds on their behalf. Bridgeport's on board for doing the same. I think we're tentatively looking at I can't think of the name of the cemetery. I think where it turns to North, is it North Avenue, North Street in Bridgeport?
Yeah.
Up along West Road. Somewhere over there.
Park City or something.
I think it's
there's-
Mountain Laurel Cemetery.
Yeah, Mountain Laurel. Yeah, so we were looking in that area of, I think it's technically Rooster River at that point.
So would you be talking
Upstream
about
would be inland.
in your, like your news? Seems
Yeah.
like something you should be bragging about that you're doing.
Yeah. Yep, and
Like to see that on your.
especially once they hopeful that they are awarded some funding, then I would make an
Right.
announcement.
Yeah.
Good. All right, moving on to Roman numeral 5, old business, number 1. Dr. Kelsey Fisher, CAES, received funding for Bombas project.
Do you recall from last year, I included the original letter in the packet as well. Dr. Fisher and I drove around this summer looking for locations with high quality meadows on open space. And she did receive funding from the feds This is Dr. Fisher of the Connecticut Agricultural Experimental Station. And she's going to be studying bumblebees using our open spaces and a few open spaces of Aspetuck Land Trust. She's gonna be, she explained it a little bit last year, but putting transmitters on bumblebees and then using radio frequencies to follow their migration and where they go. So
We got these transmitters.
yeah,
Did you?
Yeah, she did studies of.
I think it's awesome.
Kansas.
Yes.
District of 10.
Any information that I get on how this operates, I'll be sure to share and should probably be more than welcome to come in when it's in progress.
Yeah.
That would
I
be
think
great.
it's really interesting. That that's even possible.
Yeah. That is pretty
So
cool.
stay tuned.
Okay.
So Grace, you got the money?
Yeah.
Excellent. Yep. Great. Any questions, comments? No, I'd like to see more. Yeah, no, me.
Yeah.
That's one of those things that's just so unique. You never think that would be able to do that. So I wouldn't mind what the commissioner said. That's a thing you paste up there
Yeah.
and advertise and say, hey, guess what we're helping to do?
You'd be
You know?
surprised people, you say Boynton's Hill and they go, what? I
Right.
mean, they know Lake Mohegan. It's like,
Right.
could you just, it's, a mile away.
And I think it's just educating people
Yeah.
on all this other
There's cool
stuff that's
going
available,
on up there.
you know?
Absolutely.
Well, there's a lot of money. State's got a lot of money right now for environmental funding or grants. So we're trying to get a piece of it.
All right. Bumblebees are getting.
Well, that would be awesome if Fairfield was the first.
Number two, moving on, old business number two, department's request for approval to utilize H. Smith Richardson Conservation Fund Trust to fund Boyden's Hill pollinator meadow installation. Additional board approval will be required. What's going on with that?
So if you, anyone saw, my February 12th memo that's attached, it's a formal request, from the commission to authorize my pursuit for funding, to complete the project that started before I got here. That is a joint project with, the Tucker Fund. The project, as I understand it, and I've been around long enough, but was, phase one was to, use, herbicides with, the vendor All Habitat to, beat down the invasive mugwort. And then phase two was to plant it, with, native, meadow seeds and pollinator friendly, herbaceous material. I think that the battle with mugwort took longer, in years and money than anyone had expected. At that point, prior to my arrival, there was no conservation director, managing the project. And I think we're left here now that, we're in a position of, no mugwort. We don't want it to come back, and we need to get the seeds in the ground to keep it from, reestablishing. So, since this conservation fund, which, just as a reminder, is a fund, with obviously conservation, projects in mind, was used my only time I've used it was, for the, automatic gate at Lake Mohegan Cascades. So I think this is an appropriate use of the money. And I would have to go to, with approval here, have to go to, Board of Selectmen, Finance and RTM, to be able to use the monies invested with, Bank New York, Mellon, BNY Mellon. So I have to, once I have approvals in town, then go to them to authorize release of the funds. The funds in my memo that I'm talking about, based on the proposal that is also attached to my memo, from All Habitat for seeding is $19,780.
I reviewed it, it looks reasonable.
I would.
I think it'd be
I
tragic.
move that we approve, the use of the funds.
I think we did that already. This is just old business, right? Didn't we do this?
It's old business only because the project's been going on. but I haven't formally requested
The money.
Okay,
authorization
gotcha.
to pursue that funding.
So I move that we authorize Tim.
Not yet. So now you're gonna get an approval from us, most likely. And then what's the next step?
The agenda, Board of Selectmen,
Selectmen? And then finance and then the RTM?
I believe that's the
Is
process.
that the last arbiter?
Really?
All of it? All of those?
Get that all done by.
It was right at the beginning when I started. I think it was all three boards.
Is that the way to tuck a fund to set up?
This is,
This is different.
this is a little different because those funds are no longer there, so
Oh, okay.
I need to go through the formalities to authorize spending the money for
Gotcha.
Okay,
this town-held fund.
okay.
Well, it's held by, call it the trustee,
Trust, yes.
so.
Conservation Trust.
So that, I think that was, you said the right word. Who? Ultimately, that trustee has to get the okay from, so it's, he's got to get the okay, or he or she has to get the okay from all the bodies that.
There's a form authorizing
Okay.
approval on the town's
Sorry,
end.
Ted, that's what I wanted to,
So I
Yes.
move that we approve Tim moving forward and submitting the appropriate forms to get the approvals to use the money for the seeding project.
anybody want to second that?
Oh, yeah, I guess. Well, it's a done deal.
Commissioner Fain seconds? Okay, all
Yeah.
right, all in favor? Yes, there we go, that's the one. Yes.
Thank you so much, Tim.
Yeah, that's
I
great.
just don't want to see the efforts of beating up the mugwort.
It would be tragic. I mean, we'll be back here in the,
Money and
all
time.
come back.
Keep
Yeah.
coming back if
It'll-
you don't.
How does one work? How would it get reestablished? If there's, say there's
In the
no,
seed bed.
so that, let's say when I walk through and there were weird pockets of it left, are you saying that
You could
that would
disturb
serve
it.
as a catalyst?
You could
Yeah, but
disturb it
rise-
and come back.
Say that again?
You would disturb it and it would come back. It's in the seed bed. All right, unless you plant something else to take its place, it's going to reestablish.
Ground it out.
But if it's a plant,
It
it will
crowds out other things.
spread primarily through the roots. So if it's a plant, it's going to keep spreading.
I mean, so if I physically yank it, which I was doing every time I was up there.
Probably won't get only the
It'll
top.
take you years.
Has a
Okay.
pretty extensive root system.
Now that,
You can.
now that you're yanked the stalk,
Years, yeah.
roots that are still in now sprout 10 instead of the one.
So you want to get in there very quickly now and
Yes,
Seed.
seed
yes.
is over to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All habitats prepared. They have the seeds in stock. It's a,
Time is of the essence.
it's a, can't think of the name of the landscape architect, Wiener,
Barry Weiner.
Larry, yeah. It's his seed blend, which I understand is high quality. So they have that, they're ready to go. They just do it. I just gotta make sure that I have the money to pay them
But when exactly,
execute it.
things-
this spring.
how can you get through the RTM that quickly?
So I'm starting now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Leave it
okay.
at 10. Good. I'll tell you what, in 20 years of being in, working for conservation, I have never seen anybody get rid of mugwort and invasives as fast as this company did. And it'd be a shame that they got rid of it and we
Yeah.
don't do anything with it.
No, you have to do it. That's the idea.
Would it be beneficial, Tim, for, I don't know if it works or not, but I know we voted on it, but this is such formal, but informal in presentation. You want to put something together, we all put our signatures on something that you attach to.
I think just,
It's got unanimous approval.
yeah, I think approval tonight allows me to go, yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, what I think we all are in agreement that we don't want this opportunity to slip. So whatever you need, if you need more, let us know. Okay?
Great.
Moving on to Roman numeral 6, open space land acquisitions, continued number 1, 816 and or 798 Sturgis Road, appraisal status.
The appraisals are in, the property with the, existing home, came in at 690,000. The property with, that's currently vacant, was originally, established at 30,000. Parcel pending proof from the applicant that it could be developed.
Was there any discussion as to who the appraiser was gonna be?
This is Stephanie Gaffney.
So was it approved by all the parties? Is that why that person was used?
It was just yes, somebody I picked with.
Somebody that Trump used to make it a little more value?
Undervalued.
No, okay.
How do
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Strike that off the record.
This is an appraiser that was recommended by the CED department. I haven't worked with one since I've been here, so
It's all good.
the town assessor uses her firm and others, so.
Okay.
But currently, since I do have a drawing from the applicant, I'm sorry, the seller, I spoke with town planning and zoning and building department as far as what size house could be built on the lot. It is a regulated area, so if there was to ever be anything ever built there, an application would have to come to the agency.
Right.
But they could have up to a 2,600 square foot house there. So that now with that information would change the appraisal value
So we're thinking of using it for like
for parking.
parking. Yeah,
Right.
for that building that's gonna be open to whatever things that we can do in there.
Correct, yeah, the Nature's Classroom building.
Yeah,
So that is still in progress. I haven't gotten the revised appraisal for that parcel yet, but it's still moving forward. First Selectman's office is still excited about seeing how far this, could go to fruition.
Good. All right. Any questions, commissioners? Nope. Moving on to Roman 7, bills and communications, there's none. And Roman 8, legal enforcement actions, number 1, 100 Gilbert Highway.
So this came to our attention, the department, with an encroachment into open space. This abuts Brentwood's open space. What is that? Westport Turnpike? Eastern Turnpike?
Gilbert.
No,
Yeah.
on this.
Yeah, Westport. Turnpike.
Westport Turnpike, 136. That this homeowner at 100 Gilbert Highway was storing commercial vehicles like dump trucks and excavators and stuff onto open space. I was able to see the equipment from satellite. So I sent a letter that went unresponded till the day showed up with police. And he spoke. He had gotten my letter the day before. I was there with the police in the morning, and he was compliant. Apologized, said he'll remove stuff from town property, which was marked with an open space sign on the tree that he had gone past. He was stockpiling big piles of boulders, gravel, an old Army 6x6, some old dump trucks and all kinds of stuff. Tom and I walked through the woods on Brentwood's side, town space, confirmed it, and then, then I started the letter, and since it went unresponded, I spoke with the town attorney and I went out with the police in the morning. He wasn't there, but had already started moving it because he got my letter the day before. So, I think doesn't have to get any uglier than that. Tom's gonna confirm that it was moved, and resolved. Wanted to know that, we had noticed the encroachment and should have it resolved.
That's good. Put it on for the next meeting as well as a follow-up.
There's no penalty for the homeowner because he's moving.
Yeah, I think in this case, different than other cases where there was the basement sump pipe discharge through open space, like remove the line. I think in this case, if you move the stuff.
They reacted fast.
Yeah, then we're.
Good.
Resolve the encroachment and we're good.
Commissioners, any questions for the?
No, I mean,
What happens to open space when you drive trucks through? I mean, you can't really, I don't know. Is there any affected or damage? I mean, we're just
I
asking.
don't think so. They,
Want it unsaid, that's all. I'm not
No,
pressing
I
you on
hear
it, just, I wanted it said out loud, that's all.
All right. Roman 9, staff report. Number 1, reports from the Conservation Department. There are about 6 bullet points there. Tim, I'll just let you go through them, so we won't go each one, just give us a whole
Yeah.
roundup.
make them quick. Conservation crew leader, John Paul Ross, his probationary period is over, so he's a full member of our crew, working under Tom, which has been amazing. I think he's done a really good job. He's proactive, he's energetic, and he's a go-getter with getting things done, so.
Might I suggest that he be invited to the next meeting to introduce him to the rest of the commission?
Sure, wherever you want.
It'd be a good idea. Okay. Need so much to hear about him. I'd like to meet him.
Yeah. Not a problem. You may have or will be seeing him out on open spaces, so. It's just part of my kind of safety initiative. I have the 4 workshop crew members completing an online OSHA 30 course. It's general industry safety. I think it's just good practice and, educate the crew that could do some dangerous things in daily work. The American beach test plots in Binger are under construction. We have, I explained this several months ago prior to beginning it, but we cut 3 75 by 75 plots of beach only. We actually were able to locate areas that big that had nothing but beach in them. We clear cut 2 of them and left 1 alone. All 3 of them will be fenced in, which is in progress now, to simulate what may or may not happen in the future of the forests that are beach dominant moving forward due to beach leaf disease. So again, one of the cleared plots will be left alone. One of the cleared plots will be planted with saplings of other native tree species. And the uncut plot will be left as is as well. So just kind of a comparison. At some point now that Ted and I especially have been working with Fairfield U and communications, that hopefully we might be able to work in a college student as far as monitoring and statistical analysis. You may or may not have seen the fence, the old cedar fence come down on the access road to the Cascades. Tom and the crew have taken that down in the recent week or so. Just wanted to point it out that if anyone said where'd the fence go is an unsightly and useless fence along that road, and it is now down. Less maintenance and less of an eyesore going into a native forest. Made a few repairs to a boardwalk on the Yellow Trail at Brett Woods. There were some boards that were rotted and need of replacement. A quick compliment from a user out there, and this is one of the boardwalks that goes past the vernal pool where Commissioner Hood took a nice picture and sent that around.
Bodie likes that right there.
That's my dog loves that area. He approves.
The dog could go in there after June whenever.
No, I don't let him in the thing, that's.
Yeah, I know.
Conservation boat that we share with the Shellfish Commission had some repairs made. If any of you know, it's called the Aw Shucks. And it is a wooden boat we're going to get 1 more year out of, but we use it for our water sampling. part of the Unified Water Study. We use it to plant clams with the Shellfish Commission. And that will soon be replaced with a cost share between the department and the Shellfish Commission for a fiberglass boat that is less needy for maintenance.
Boats?
Yeah. Definitely.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have two more to add that weren't on the agenda that that got left off. Recently created a form for monitoring and tracking maintenance, repairs, and activities for our tide gates and flood control structures townwide. It's a one-page form, a lot of check boxes and short answers, but I created a binder that Tom and the crew will carry with them twice a year. We're going to be inventorying and visual inspections on all the flood. I think there's 43 flood control structures, mostly in the Beach District. That includes sluice gates, self-regulating tide gates, duckbills, and flap gates that we've collaborated with engineering and public works. That we're going to take that and it's going to fall into our department as far as monitoring and maintenance. So if something needs grease or something's missing or something's broken, it'll be written down in a central location and dealt with accordingly. That hasn't happened. People don't know things are locked. They don't know where the key is. No one knows whose jurisdiction this one falls under versus that one. No one, so it's gotten a lot better as far as communication. And last one, I had mentioned this in the past, and Ted's well aware of it because we've been working on it in the background. I uploaded on the cloud. I put a kind of a informal request for bids to conduct digital and geolocated trail mapping project. The pilot, as you guys know, is going to be completed at Brentwoods, Mohegan, and Grace. I had got 6 really good quotes from competent consultants in the area and authorized the lowest bidder, who's was about half the price of the highest bidder to begin. So I emailed, and if anyone doesn't recall, the consultant will generate a digital map in the correct format. That's after walking all the trails with the GPS backpack. Those will geolocate the trail system. That'll be uploaded to the map provider Avenza. And then a QR code will be installed at the new kiosks, which we'll have at these locations. So people can geolocate and find themselves in real time on the right trail. And also with the download, we'll generate a new stream of revenue for the department, and which will go towards maintenance, our maintenance budget. And it'll put us as a town in the correct century. So, yeah, that happened as of this week. So I just wanted to pass that along.
It's great.
Can I go back?
Help the guy and
And if you haven't downloaded Avenza, it's worth it. It's downloaded, it's free, and they've got a free street map overlay. So you can look at where you can happen, I guess, where you track your walk. And I want to use it to identify invasives.
Okay.
And where the invasives are, and then send the crew out to go after them. It's pretty cool.
Commissioner Boucher?
I just had a quick question, Tim. I'm sorry to go back, but other than Tom leading the way, how many field people are available full-time for the department to work?
There's Tom and 3 others full-time.
Yeah. Are they long tenured employees of the town?
The shortest is 3 years.
Well,
No.
I'm sorry, JP's long term.
Well, other than,
Yeah.
he's right here. No.
As far as town employment.
There's nobody on probation anymore.
Including John Paul is 4.
No. Well, yeah,
He's the fourth.
yeah, he's the fourth,
Okay, yeah,
including me.
right. And Tom, you're frequently at the shop down there? Because I drive by all the time. I've never stopped in.
Stop in.
Okay, I don't bring coffee, I know, but I'll stop.
You don't have to bring any.
I'll stop in.
Is there anything you want to say or add for the members to hear?
I just, you know what, proud of the guys that work for me. With everything else, you have your differences, but all in all, making a positive influence on the town.
Yeah, but that's very visible.
I will say,
So,
And thank you, Peter, for taking pictures and noticing what we do.
because it's visible. And I just keep saying that over and over, but I also think that's important. That people see there are things happening. They see that it's almost like when you're walking in an open space, it seems cared for. When, just the little things you did at Brett, I'm like, it tells me that somebody's out there.
I'll say, someone who worked at River Lab for close to 20 years, who was amazing. And Tom is so responsive. You call him and he's out there when you like, like if you have a class out there and something's gone on, they come out. I mean, Tom personally pulled how much poison ivy last year. I mean, keeping our children safe. Our children that can't stay on the trails.
I appreciate it, but I don't take that stuff good. It's my crew.
Everybody.
You're gonna have to. Sorry, because I'm very repetitive.
Any other questions, comments on this, commissioners? Nope. Moving on to 10 other. We'll start with Commissioner Singer, PA number, public act number 23-143, nighttime lighting for birds. Actually, not.
Or lack thereof.
Exactly right, yeah, lack thereof. So the state last year passed a bill that any building owned by the state of Connecticut turns off any unnecessary lights at 10 o'clock at night and just 6 o'clock the following morning. The reason being to save money on electricity and also to eliminate light pollution, which is confusing birds and other pollinators at night. So they can't do what they're supposed to do, which is pollinate the plants. So when we had a new select person elected, I sent him a congratulatory email. I said, wouldn't it be cool if Fairfield enacted the same date for our own buildings in the town? And he said, interesting idea, bring it up with the Conservation Commission. So here we are, in front of the Conservation Commission. And, Tim and I talked about, do we really have jurisdiction? It's not even a jurisdictional thing. I think it's more a recommendation or an advisory. And I did look at what our responsibilities are, and there is one thing that we could claim, which is make recommendations to other town agencies on proposed land use changes. So turning out a light should be considered a land use change of a building. And if you drive around Town Hall at like 11 o'clock at night, there's all sorts of landscape lighting that's on. There's nobody there. There's nobody in the parking lot. There's nothing, at the least we could put the lighting in the parking lot on a motion detector, so it only turns on when it's needed, as opposed to having it on all night long. So I think it makes perfect, it's an easy thing to do. The state's already done it. So we're just trying to align ourselves with the state regulation, and the town will save money. We can take credit for being the first town in Connecticut to actually mimic the state law. And I know another town down towards the New York area is looking to be the first one to do that. So we might get ahead of them and be the first one to do that. So my suggestion would be that we send a recommendation to the first select person and say, I think this would be a good idea to take the verbiage of the state law, make it specific to the town of Fairfield, and
We're opening ourselves up for vandalism.
So I was thinking safety.
so actually,
They're gonna be the
that's
biggest.
the first thing that people ask about is safety, and there is no study showing light and safety being connected. from a crime perspective. There's actually more crime in lit up places than there is where there's no lighting.
Consciously, you feel safer, you think?
Well, that's human, that's, that's the fire, keeping the animals away. I mean, the problem is that LED lighting is so cheap now that we've ended up lighting up everything. And the result of that is that we've lit way too much stuff, way too bright at night. And what we're doing is we're stopping the pollinators that are supposed to be working at night from doing their job. Because insects actually, this was just similar to the bee thing where they put a sensor on the bee. They discovered that moths and other insects at night get confused around light is they naturally turn their back to the brightest light. So when the brightest light is the moon and the stars, that keeps them moving in the right direction relative to the ground. But when you have other sources of light that are brighter than the moon and the stars, they get confused and they end up not going where they're supposed to go. And they end up not pollinating as much stuff as they should be pollinating. Moths are actually more efficient pollinators than bees. And they do a lot of work at night.
And I'd be in favor of lights in buildings. But I have to disagree with you with outside safety lights. When I was a director at Audubon, Assistant Chief Weir came. And one thing he was clear on was lights at night, especially around buildings. Well, I would agree with lights inside a building, but I'd have some concern about lighting around buildings, like streets.
There's nothing wrong with lighting around buildings as long as you're lighting up what you intend to light up. Like part of the problem is that we've got these big spotlights, they're bleeding light up when you're only supposed to be lighting
I know
the ground.
years ago, when we were on TPZ, we had mandatory dark sky at night lighting.
Right.
So like if you look at any new buildings that have been built in, let's say the last 12 years, everything has been dark sky.
Well, supposedly, but who's enforcing that?
Oh, that's
There's no one in,
town.
no one in the town is working at night checking with their full cutoff.
Down.
Dark sky at night means nothing's being reflected above the light.
Well, yeah, dark sky, it means that at the horizontal, there's no bleed above.
If you look at like,
It's just a cover.
we're looking like a good example of that would be,
Lighting.
gas station.
Yeah, barn lighting is dark skies compliant. Barn,
Can we
All
focus in?
Yeah.
Can we focus in, do we know what the town uses? Is it dark night?
the town uses a little bit of everything because I actually did a tour around midnight. I've got a PowerPoint I can show you guys of the light at night in the town of Fairfield.
I'd like to see that. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I can
Towns,
present that.
their lighting has been around for years, so it's not, I'm sure it hasn't been updated.
Well, so, and it's like that building next to the town hall,
See
that
that
old
lights
school
on,
building or whatever. There's a landscape light that's aiming at that building all night long.
Right.
There's nobody there. Why is that on?
That doesn't.
There's nobody
doesn't hide
walking there. There's no safety issue associated with that. And part of the requirement of the state bill is it's got to be approved by, the building manager as to the efficiency or safety of the light that's turned out. So it's not a blanket, turn out all the lights. It's just find the ones that are not necessary,
I agree.
that are on, and turn them off.
That's a decision though. That's an opinion decision.
Well, and that's the way the law was written, to allow for that opinion to be made. So it was, it had been watered down. It was a much stronger law initially, but it was watered down. So if you look at the actual verbiage of the state legislation, I'm looking to do something similar to that with respect to, buildings owned by the town of Fairfield. All right, and they make the appropriate determinations to whether it's a safety related issue or not. And then if it's not safety related, turn it off
That decision
to
too.
reduce the intensity.
Well, that's kind
Make it a yellow light. So
If it is safety, you can accomplish much
Yeah.
the same
I think it's that big.
Well, so
plant lighting.
Okay, when you're at school and.
We do that at home. Talking about that. And it-
Well,
You
the
can
light-
put motion detectors, like you
well,
said.
so smart lighting is really the application of light where it's needed. All right, and what we've ended up doing is lighting up a lot of stuff that doesn't need to be lit up. I've got neighbors that have a party going on all night long, all year long for some reason. They got all these lights in their backyard that are lit up, and all they're doing is, making it difficult for the pollinators to do their job. To me, this is kind of like a no-brainer, and it's not mandatory. So somebody in the town, like was it, James Ryan or whoever manages the infrastructure of the town, he would make the determination as to whether the light needs to be left on or turned off. So it's not my decision to make. It would be up to the town.
I think it has a lot of appeal, me first.
Yeah, well,
That's where
I think being first would be kind of cool. I think Fairfield, I think
I think that would be
cool.
motivating.
I mean, ideally, from my perspective, Fairfield should be applying smart lighting principles. So
I
smart
can get
lighting.
behind that, like, so this dark sky thing or a review recommendation that the first selectman review all the town properties to see what's.
I would love to get to that point. I'm asking for something much simpler than that right now, which is to just align ourselves with what the state has already done.
No, I'm in favor of turning off the lights. Then, like Rich said, someone trips and falls. Oh, it was too dark. I didn't get to see it. Then
Well, then use motion sensors and they turn on when somebody's there and they're not on when somebody's not there. It's cheaper.
Cheaper, have a cheaper go up and put motion sensors in?
They're doing,
One-time cost.
so they're, all lights are being converted to LED.
I know.
And they do that, each light can be controlled, each light can be addressed. It's, it's a lot easier.
With the right controls being put in
It
place.
sounds,
Everybody, pretty much everyone now, every fixture has its own address. You can,
Yeah, I mean, to begin with, pull the shades at night. So when you're lit up inside, don't broadcast that outside. And then from my perspective, you go to the town hall, landscape lighting. Why is that on? Who's looking at it? Nobody. It's a waste of money. So, we're lighting up the flagpole at night. Who's looking at the flagpole?
Do that.
It's a federal law.
If the flag's out there, you have to.
It's the law.
Flag is out at
You
night.
can also aim the light down on the flagpole as opposed to going up. So that's smart lighting is you aim it down,
I'm not sure. That would be.
and you're not polluting.
But I think it's a good conversation starter.
Hmm.
I don't think we're ready to do anything with it right now. We'll put it on the next.
Well, that was the only intent, was the conversation started. Let's discuss it.
You started the conversation,
The commission to discuss.
put it back on for the next agenda and we can flush it out and see where.
My simple point was the light over the door at Sullivan Hall could be,
Yeah.
the safety would still be there.
Well, all of
All I'm
the
trying to-
landscape lighting, all you have to do is put it above, down, as opposed to up, on the bottom going up. So just reverse the light and aim it
I'm
down,
just saying the safety
Solve the
thing I
problem.
think could be
and you still have light.
fairly easily.
Maybe we're vain.
So I'm
A lot of prettiness to the.
I'm happy to show the Fairfield at Night presentation if you guys want to see it, the lights that I took pictures of.
that'd be great.
The one I still can't figure out is the Whole Foods parking lot, why they've got that.
What's the blue thing? Yeah, I don't know what that is.
It is beyond me. It's like,
Well, the other problem with that is if you ever walk through there at night, you can't see because it has a fluorescent effect on the striping. I walk through it and I cannot see where I'm going.
well, I've heard that
It's actually
the result of an imperfection in manufacturing and the light wasn't supposed to be that color to start
There's a
with.
town, there's a whole.
I thought, I'm like, is this supposed to be better? I'm like, I don't understand what's going on over here.
But you go by Home Depot and it looks like they're trying to keep the plants from escaping at night. They've got that plant thing lit up with spotlights.
Gotcha. All right, anybody else like to mention anything in other?
Yes.
Yeah,
have
one other, the
Hold on.
Greenfield,
Hold on. Sorry. You had.
and my shed.
We'll go back. Okay.
You'll get the mic back.
Okay.
We talked about it, recognizing and identifying the young conservationists.
Yeah.
Commissioner Hood and Commissioner Mahoney and I were to get together as subcommittee. We have yet to do that, but I promise you all that we will do that. And hopefully I can get the two of them out for lunch on Friday.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner.
All right, the Greenfield Hill Garden Club is looking to put a commemorative bench somewhere, which I discovered yesterday because I presented to them. And they are unsure of where to put it. So I just thought I'd put it in front of Mr. Bishop. If there's a spot in any of our open spaces that might benefit from a bench, courtesy of the Greenfield Hill Garden Club.
Yeah, I directed Janet to Parks and Rec because they manage that. But traditionally in the past, the commission has frowned upon benches on open space.
Okay. That's fine. I just thought, I'd throw that out.
Rec will give her, you know, at least the club.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And the other thing I want
Options.
to mention is Earth Day's coming up. And we had a very successful engagement last year at Earth Day with the birdhouse giveaways. So we may want to start thinking about that and what we want to do, because I'm already involved with pollinator pathway and forestry committee and all that other stuff. But doing a little bit more planning
Gotta get the
around visibility, and marketing.
It wasn't my job to make them.
Right. Where did those birdhouses come from last year? Were they?
As Tony Soprano would say, they fell off.
They
the
fell
truck.
truck.
That's all you need to know.
I'll take care of
Don Boucher, can you get some more for us? All right, any commissioners, anything else?
No, that's enough.
All right.
Great meeting.
Yeah.